Donny Cates, Daniel Warren Johnson, and Martin Coccolo finally answer the age-old question of who would win as the hulked-out Thor and Hulk continue their battle to the death as Asgard burns around them. Donny Cates and Daniel Warren Johnson finish up the Banner of War storyline in a big bombastic fashion as Hulk and Thor duke it out one final time. The entire issue takes the premise of who would win in a fight between these two and actually examines it pretty well beyond, well, this guy's stronger than this guy, giving a really cool reason as to why Hulk has never really fought Thor while he's at full power. Tying it into the idea is that Thor is very humble and a very honorable warrior thanks to his father banishing him to Earth to learn humility, and the friends he has made there in the Avengers, and of course Bruce Banner being one of those, which he sees in Hulk all the time he fights, which is why he holds back. It's a really interesting and well thought out way to look at the two battling, and as I said, it's more than just, well, this guy is stronger and bigger than this guy, so he would beat this guy, like a lot of people I think were thinking this story was going to be like. And because of that, I kind of feel like a lot of people won't be happy with how the fight really ends, because there's no really definitive winner, and I'm completely fine with that because of the way it ends with Thor covering for Hulk. We basically get the idea that Hulk is now quote-unquote dead to the rest of the Marvel universe. Everyone else thinks he's dead now, so Hulk is now free to return to his multiversal travels, something which I am very excited for, since it really felt like before this event kicked off we were only just scratching the surface on it before the event kind of steamrolled it all and took over everything. So I'm really glad to be back into the bleed and into the multiverse with the Hulk. Martin Coccolo finishes up his time on the book with an explosive goodbye, giving us more fantastic double-page spreads depicting the battle between the heroes in brilliant colours and explosions, and his art also got brutal again for a moment there with Thor ripping Hulk's arm off on panel. You get to see all the bones and blood, everything, and even more Hulk body horror stuff with the weird spaceship armour he has, transforming his body again and making him regrow his arm and reform all over him, and just looked fantastic. Hulk issue 8 was a really satisfying ending to the Banner of War storyline that examined the who would win in a fight premise in a new light and left the characters in such a way that they could continue their respective adventures in their ongoings again. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Hulk issue 8 sees Uatu the Watcher presiding over the battle between Hulk and the hulked out Thor, knowing this is a question asked for decades past, and today he presents the answer to who will win in a battle to the death, Thor the All-Father of Thunder or Hulk, the strongest there is. Odin tells Banner to pilot them to Asgard, but Bruce doesn't know how he wants him to do that since Thor broke the Rainbow Bridge, and besides, he's a little preoccupied beating Thor. Angered, Odin asks if Bruce really thinks he gave him Mjolnir just so he could strut around with armor and lightning. Odin says that Thor often holds back, displaying his sheer scope of power, but he isn't his son. Odin says that the Bifrost may be gone, but Asgard isn't, as Sif, Beta Ray Bill, and Tony arrive from Asgard. Tony hopes that his eyes aren't playing tricks on him, and Beta Ray can see Hulk is wielding Mjolnir as power explodes from a portal in front of them. Sif helps Tony up, who knows that Thor won't be able to beat Hulk if he has the hammer, but Beta Ray tells him that that's not true since Hulk has never actually fought the real Thor, since in the past, Hulk faced Thor the Avenger, the humble, noble hero, but there was a reason Odin cast him to Midgard, and it was to learn humility and honor and wield his power with mercy. Ray knows that now the Hulk faces not just a mirror of his own rage, but a rage that has been held back for hundreds of years, and in the past when they fought, Thor always thought that there was a man or ally inside the Hulk, thinking this in mercy, but Thor doesn't see that now, and Hulk will find out what it means to fight a god. Thor rips Hulk's arm off, hurting Bruce inside the armor, but Hulk continues to smash Thor down, as Odin tells Bruce to push Thor towards Yggdrasil, since the tree will burn the madness from him. Hulk smashes Thor into the World Tree, whose roots imprison him against its trunk. Bruce asks if it's over, but Odin knows that Bruce told him the monster is fueled by rage, and yet here Bruce is in control of the madness, and while he has that worked out, Thor hasn't, and right now they are using the United unlimited power of every realm in the known and unknown universe to cage his madness. Odin knows that with all of the elders of the universe and magics lending their hand, it still might not be enough, as the enraged Thor rips free of the tree, grabbing the world tree by its roots and ripping it up out of the ground, destroying it. Bruce tells Odin that if he doesn't stop, this will be the end of reality, knowing that it might be time for less force and more words. Odin takes command of Hulk, speaking through him and apologizing to his son for his troubles and for what he has done, and he wants Thor to know that despite all of his mistakes and differences with him, he still loves his son and he'll do what needs to be done to help burn the burden from him. He puts Mjolnir to Thor's head, power exploding from the hammer as Tony and the others are blown back by the force. In the smoky aftermath, Thor is revealed to have been turned back to normal, and later he tells Tony, who was knocked out by the blast, that Mjolnir removed the gamma and restored the world tree, but the resulting explosion was too much for all but a god to survive, meaning the Hulk died. In reality though, Thor let Hulk escape as Hulk's ship armor reforms on his body, regrowing his arm as he flies away from Asgard. Thor helps Tony to his chariot, knowing that in some way Banner let himself be destroyed since he wanted to be free. Thor's two goats take Tony back to Earth as Sif meets with Thor, telling him that Hulk went far from them, wondering if they should let him go. Thor knows that Banner isn't to blame for what happened in El Paso, but he knows that the world will forever doubt him for it, and having lived behind Banner's eyes thanks to the gamma radiation he had, he has felt that rage and pain, and he shares in those things more than he wishes. Hulk meanwhile speeds off back into the bleed as his Asgardian armor is placed on display in Asgard. Thor tells Sif that they must respect Hulk's will, and maybe someday he shall find healing, as suddenly the armor's eyes begin to glow with red fire.